Dear viewers, good morning. So this is my 100th video. So I dedicate all my videos to my father. He is my source of inspiration. I apparently lost him. He was taken away by the nature on December 8th, 2020. So today we are going to discuss about that seed structure of the agriculture and horticulture crops. So this will be useful for the agriculture students, particularly that agriculture graduate, those who are doing your SST 201 course by this time. Apart from that, the person preparing for that AU examinations, you can also expect one or two questions from the seed structure. So before getting into the seed structure, I wanted to give you definition for that seed. Botanical definitions. So botanically the seed is defined as fertilized matured ovule. So normally the ovule that gives rise to seeds, whereas that ovary that will give a fruit. In the case of agriculture crops, that fruit itself going to act as a seeds, whereas in the case of horticulture crops, we are having a fruit. On inner side the fruit only the seed going to be there. So in the case of horticulture crops, we are having a fruit separately and seed separately, whereas most of the horticulture crops, the fruit itself going to act as a seeds. So the definition says that fertilized matured ovule which possess embryonic plant, your miniature plant going to be there inside, either in the form of embryo or in the form of the primary embryonic axis. Then apart from embryonic plant, that also have a stored food material. So the material may be stored in the endosperm or in the cotyledon, and all those things are well surrounded by the protective seed coat or coats. So the crop like green gram, black gram, red gram, there you can see only one covering, only one outer covering, whereas a crop like cotton, castor and bendy, sunflower, like so many crops, you can see 2 or 3 coverings. So because of that they used seed coat or coats. So this is a definition for seed and the point of view, botanist point of view. So now I wanted to give you some information about that internal as well as external structure. First about that internal parts of the seeds. So the major internal part of the seed is concerned, it's a embryo, radicle, plumule, cotyledon, scutellum and endosperm. So that embryo, it's a living part as far as all the seed is concerned, particularly in the case of monocot, that the embryo is a living. So within that embryo only that radicle and plumule is going to be there. Radicle means the tissue corresponding to development of the root. It's a miniature root, otherwise called as a miniature root. And the plumule, that is a tissue related to development of the shoot. So it's a miniature shoot that appeared inside of the seed, that in the embryo. So both radicle and plumule going to be there in the embryo part. Then in the case of dicot seeds, example the black gram, green gram, in those cases kidney shaped things will be available. So here you can see that the things are given here. So this is a cotyledon, so kidney shaped thing. So this is a cotyledon. So 2 cotyledons will be available in this particular case. So these cotyledon, in the case of dicot, that act as a storage organ. Apart from that, the cotyledon that have a life also. So it's a living nature. So that is a thing. In the case of a monocot, that also have a cotyledon, but single cotyledon, but that cotyledon is very much utilized by the developing embryo endosperms. So during the development, that endosperm will utilize all the cotyledon, that is that one number of cotyledon that are available in the monocot seed. So even after consumption, small amount of that the cotyledon will be available in the case of monocot. So that is called as a scutellum. So that is a scutellum. And in the case of monocot, that major storage organ is that endosperm. So here I can explain with that monocot structure also. Here that maize seed is available. So this is a structure of that monocot. So here you can see So this particular part, the total, that yellow or orange color kind of thing, so that is that endosperm, that is a storage organ. So see, development maturation lecture itself, I told you that that endosperm is developed by the way of fusion of the two polar nuclei and one male nuclei. So because of that, endosperm, it's a triploid nature. So another main thing with reference to endosperm is concerned, it's a totally not having a life. It's a totally non-living nature. So endosperm, it's a non-living and developed through the process of the triple fusion and act as a storage organ in the case of a monocot. So almost all the monocot that have the endosperm. Some exceptions are there, that and all I can give it to you later. Then in the case of a monocot, another thing is we don't have any separate seed coat, whereas in the case of a dicot, particularly in the case of green gram, we can see that green color layer. So that and all we can separate. So we can separate without causing any damage to the internal organ like a cotyledon. Whereas in the case of a monocot like sorghum, maize and bajra, so this don't have any separate seed coat. So here the fruit itself going to act as a seed. So because of that, the fruit wall, seed wall fuse together, that form a pericarp. Okay, here that fruit wall and seed wall fuse together, that form a yellow color thing. So that and all you cannot separate, like that of the dicot, you cannot separate here. So here that and all call it as a pericarp. So that is there in the case of a maize. I already told you that is that monocot also the cotyledon is available, but very much reduced. But here for easy visualization purpose, that is given just like a bigger size material, but not this much is available. It's a very much reduced. That is located in between endosperm and embryo. So that is located in between embryo and endosperm. So the reduced form of cotyledon in the case of monocot is called as a scutellum. Then again another thing is here that the endosperm is well surrounded by one layer. So one layer, outer layer. So that layer is called as a alluron layer. That alluron layer is fully loaded with protein molecules. So fully loaded with protein molecules. The another main point with reference to alluron layer is concerned, it's a living nature. Okay, even though this alluron layer is located in the area of the endosperm, this have its life. So because of that, that alluron layer, otherwise popularly call it as a living layer of protein. So this also a very frequently asked question in the most of the competitive examinations. So the alluron layer, otherwise call it as a living layer of protein that surround the endosperm area. That is very much useful for that germination related process. So germination related process, that alluron layer that play a major role. And then with reference to that embryo in the case of monocot, so this is the embryo part. So this is embryo region. So embryo is a living part. So alluron layer, then embryo is a living part as far as that monocot is concerned. So here so this area is that embryo. So the embryo that our tissues corresponding to that shoot development, that is a plumule. So here that is given in a green in color. Can take another okay. So green color one, that is at plumule region. The red color one, that is at radical regions. So that is the radical is that have a tissues related to that root development, whereas that plumule, that is have a tissues that have a shoot development ability. Again, both radical and plumule. So particularly the plumule is well surrounded by one more covering, that is that coleoptile. So the sheath-like covering that surround that plumule region is a coleoptile. Again, sheath-like covering that surround that radical region is a coleorhiza. So both radical plumule going to be there in the embryo. So embryo is a living part. Endosperm, it's a non-living part. Endosperm act as a storage organ as far as that monocot seed is concerned. So similarly in the case of dicot seed, so here that structures of dicot is available here. So this have a well developed seed coat. If you separate that seed coat on the inner side, you can see two cotyledons that are available. So these two are two cotyledons. Particularly in the case of black gram, green gram and pulses, you can see that one white color scar kind of thing on the lateral side. That is a hilum. Actually, hilum is that scar kind of thing is developed at the time of maturity. So during that maturity, that funiculus attachment get detached. Okay, that funiculus, that is a mother tissue, that is a mother plant, have a connection with the seed through funiculus attachment. As and when that seed attains physiological maturity, the funiculus get degenerated. That left some scar. So that is a hilum. Just above the hilum, you can see one small hole is there. That is a micropylar opening. And just below the hilum, you can see one more opening. That is a lens. So the micropyle somewhat visible with the help of that magnification lens you can see, but visualization of that lens that and all not that much easy. Okay, if it is a seed is fresh, in those cases we can that visualize that presence of the lens and micropyle and all. Whereas in almost all the pulses we can visualize that hilum with the help of the naked eye. So that is a thing. Then with reference to that internal thing, so this have two cotyledon. Both the cotyledons are living nature that act as a storage organ. Most of the dicot that totally divide up the endosperm. And in any one of the cotyledon, if you break open that seed into two half, in any one of the cotyledon, you can see this kind of structures. So this kind of structure. So this is a primary embryonic axis. So this is a primary embryonic axis. The solid end is that region related to that radicle, whereas that cleft shaped, so this one, the cleft shaped one, the leafy kind of thing, that is a plumulus region. So this is a very very important organ. So here, except that seed coat, that remaining both the cotyledon and the primary embryonic axis are living nature. So this is with reference to that dicot seed is concerned. So overview. Then apart from that, some of the seeds, if you remove that outer covering, you can see on inner side some powdery mosses, white color powdery mosses that are available. This is a perisperm. Very good example for this seed having a perisperm. It's a pepper seeds, pepper, and the seeds belongs to the family of Amaranthaceae, Canaceae, Cabreraceae, Piperaceae and Zingiberaceae. The powdery masses and all you can see on inner sides. Actually, it's a perisperm. The perisperm is developed from the nucellus tissues. Actually, during that endosperm development, whatever that nucellus tissues are there, that is appeared in and around that embryo sac, everything is consumed by the endosperm. But in some other cases, some persistent nucellus will be available, so that is later modified into a perisperm. So here you can see, so the powdery masses, this is a pepper seed, so this is a perisperm, so this is a perisperm. So this kind of things are available. So a pepper seed is a very good example for this particular kind. And then coming back to the external structures. So the external structure, the prominent one is a seed coat. So actually it's the outer covering that give a protection to our seeds, and actually this is developed from the indugments. So the embryo sac that have inner indugment and outer indugment, so both the indugments are developed into a seed coat. So seed coat that have a two layer, inner layer and outer layer. The outer layer is developed from the outer indugment, and the outer layer is called it as a testa. So normally some other cases smooth in nature, some other cases rough surfaces nature. And inner layer of the seed coat is called as a tegument. So this is developed from the that inner indugment. So here two layers are available. Both the layers are developed from the indugment, both from inner indugment and outer indugment. So the outer layer is called as a testa, and the inner layer is a tegument. Some of the specialized structures also available in some other crops like wheat, oat, barley, gram. The appearance of the awn, so the needle-like projections. So here you can see needle-like projections, needle-like projection on the tip of the grain. Actually, it's an extension of the clume. So it's a very common features in the case of poaceae seeds, particularly grasses, rice, ornamental, all those things. So previously that cultivated rice also have the awn. So because of that created some sort of problem during that processing. So now we are breeding that variety with without on. So that is a thing. Then hilum, I already told you. So this is in the case of that pulses. That is the scar left by the funiculus. At the time of maturity, the funiculus get detached, so that will give a scar kind of things. So that will be appear white in color in the case of green gram, black gram and all. So this also a external structures. And then another one is a carangle. It's a white spongy outgrowth. So this is I can enlarge the image. At the time I can show you. So here you can see it's actually a castor seeds. Here you can see a warty spongy outgrowth. So the snout. So that is at carangle. So these kind of structures are available in the case of a rubber, tapioca and castor seeds. So this plays some role with reference to that germination related events. So some of the positive opinions also there, some of the negative opinions also there. So that is debatable on the science point of view. So the carangle is external structure of the castor, tapioca and rubber. It's a warty outgrowth. Then another thing is aerial. So that also a external seed structure. It arises from the funiculus or testa or sometimes from both. Actually this is considered to be a third integument. So this aerial that surround the seeds completely. In the case of a lychee you can see actually this is a edible part. The white part thing is edible part. So that edible part, white color, is a aerial. On inner side of the aerial only you can see that seeds in the case of lychee. Similarly in the case of nutmeg, so that pink color one covering, leathery covering, that is a aerial. On inner side only you can see that seeds. So that aerial in the case of nutmeg is called as a maize. So that is economically important part. So here that aerial is a third integument that completely cover that seeds. So this is a special feature as far as that lychee, nutmeg, that even that pomegranate also. These are all the example for the seed that having that aerial structures. Then some of the seeds that have wings. So winged seeds. So it's a papery structure that is attached to all the sides of the seeds or one side of the seed or specific side of the seeds. So this kind of structures we can see very commonly in the case of a moringa seed, that is acacia mangium, and helicopter seeds. Here you can see actually these are helicopter seeds. So the wings are arranged like helicopter wings. So normally this and all will be available in a fruit, and the bigger size fruits. At the time of maturity the fruit will burst open just like a crack. This will burst. At the time whatever that seeds that are placed inside, that wings get momentum and propel like anything that one able to travel from one place to one continent to other continent also, that have the potential to travel a long distance in the wind. So because of that these seeds are normally known as helicopter seeds. This is a moringa seeds. Here you can see the seeds are placed in the middle on the entire thing is well surrounded by a papery thing. So this is one of the useful mechanism as far as that a seed is concerned in the angle of seed dispersal. And some other cases the seed coat that has, so particularly in the case of a cotton, that extension of the seed coat is a fibrous matter. That is economically important one. That is a hairy structures. So minute thread like appendages present on the surface of the seeds. So again the tendril developed for the purpose of protecting the seeds, but the human point of view we are extracting that one for our fiber recurrent purpose. Similarly in the case of that tomato also you can see minute hairs. So this is a cross section of the tomato. So minute hairs will be available on the tomato seeds also. So the tomato cotton, that is an example for the seed that have hairs. And some of the seeds that have a hook like projections are available. So hook like of things, again this is also useful for seed dispersal. So whenever that animal crosses these particular weeds, that with the help of that hook mechanism, that the seed will be firmly attached with the animals. So by that way the seeds are disseminated. So the seed that have a hook, example is a cocklebur. Kakalbur is an example. And some of the seeds that have spines, the very good example for this one is our Panjar vine, that is a Nerinjimul in Tamil, and botanically it's called as a Tribulus terrestris. So that have a spine. So here you can see spines will be available. So based on the germination behavior, the seeds are divided into two categories. One is at apigeal type of germination, another one is a hypogeal type of germination. First I can tell about that what is a hypogeal type of germination. So hypogeal type of germination, whatever that seed placed for germination in the soil, that will give rise only that shoot alone, and that shoot alone will come out of the soil surfaces. Whatever that seed placed inside the soil, that remain inside the soil, that firmly attached with the root, okay, that never come out of the soil. So this is the definition for that hypogeal type of germination. So almost all the monocot comes under these particular category, but here some exceptions also there. So whatever that seed placed for germination, that seed going to be there inside the soil alone, that never come out of the soil surface along with the shoot. So that is a hypogeal type of germination. So all the monocot will come under that particular category. So apigeal type of germination. So here whatever the seed placed for germination below the soil, that will come out of the soil and that firmly attached with the shoot. Here you can see. So that will be appear like a quaternary leaf. So this is a apigeal type of germination. So almost all the dicot will come under that particular category. Some exceptions also there in this particular case. Particularly some of the rabi season pulses, particularly chickpea, gram. In those cases, even though they are dicot seed, that follow the system of the hypogeal type of germinations. So exception and detailed classification I will give you in the upcoming slides. So here you can see the total seeds are divided into two categories based on their cotyledon. So dicot and monocot. Again, based on the presence or absence of the endosperm, the dicots are divided into two categories, that is exalbuminous and albuminous category. In general, the dicots are exalbuminous, that is a dicot have only that cotyledon, totally divide up any endosperm. So the seeds totally divide up endosperm is called as exalbuminous category. So that is a very common features, but in the case some of the dicot seed that have albuminous, that is that have endosperm. So here you can see. So the castor and poppy and poroclock plants and Annonaceae, even though they are dicot, but they are having that endosperm also. Again, based on that germination behavior, the dicot seed with the albuminous category is divided into two categories, apigeal type and hypogeal type. As far as that dicot is concerned, that apigeal type of germination is a very common feature, whereas in the case of Annonaceae, that follow the hypogeal type of germination. So Annonaceae is an example for dicot seed that have endosperm and that follow that hypogeal type of germination, whereas castor and poroclock plant, it's an example for dicot plant that have endosperm also that follow apigeal type of germinations. Again, that regular dicot seed, that is at exalbuminous category, again under that also some of them follow that, many of them follow that apigeal type of germination, and very few that follow the hypogeal type of germination. So example for the dicot that have exalbuminous totally divide up endosperm that follow that hypogeal type of germination is gram, pea and mango. So the central and some of the competitive examinations, they are frequently asking all these questions. So this will be useful for the person that are appearing for that EAO examination and all. So this is with reference to that dicot with the exalbuminous category and dicot with the albuminous category. Similarly, that monocot also, in general, monocot seeds are categorized into the albuminous category because almost all the monocot that have endosperm, and also they follow that hypogeal type of germination. But here some exceptions are there. First, we can discuss about monocot with the exalbuminous category. Exalbuminous means divide of the endosperm. Monocot, exalbuminous, and apigeal type of germination is recommended in the case of water plantain, and hypogeal type of germination is recommended in the case of Abenocacton. So this is the things. Monocot with albuminous, it's a regular features, and monocot, albuminous, and hypogeal type of germination is a regular one, but monocot, albuminous, and apigeal type of germination is reported in the case of onion and other liliaceae plants. So onion and other liliaceae plants, we can see that apigeal type of germination, even though they are monocot, and they follow that apigeal type of germination, whereas remaining monocot, they follow that hypogeal type of germination. Example is rice, maize, palm, and everything will comes under that particular category. So this is a in total classification as far as that seed is concerned. Now we can see some cross-specific internal seed structures. So this is with reference to that paddy. So the paddy that have two outer covering, so that is at lemma and pallia. So if you remove that lemma and pallia, on inner side you can see that endosperm. So on the base you can see this kind of marking. This is the embryo, so this is the endosperm part. On the base, and the intact structure on the base, you can see a white color thing, so that is a plume. In some other wild rice, you can see that needle-like projections, needle-like projection, so that is a on. So this is with reference to that paddy seed structure is concerned. This is not that much complicated one, whereas this is sorghum seeds, that internal structure of the sorghum seeds. Actually, sorghum seeds are monocot that have endosperms and embryo, and embryo is a living part, and the base I'm here that things are not that much visible, whereas if you take that section for observing all the internal parts, you have to make a longitudinal cut. Okay, so whatever that internal structures are available, that should be exposed. So because of that, here you have to make a longitudinal cut. By that way, you have to divide the seed into two half. So if you cut the seeds into two half, on inner side you can see that embryo endosperm part. So this central endosperm. So this is an embryo. What is the base of the embryo? You can see a hairline, that a black color layer. So normally that appears like this. Here I can draw. So embryo will be look like this. On the base you can see this kind of a layer, that is a black in color, that is a black color layer. So that is a Tungen layer. So TUNKEN, Tungen layer, that is a maturity indices symptoms. So as and when that seed attain physiological maturity, at the time that layer will be developed, so automatically the seed and the biological connection between that seed and the mother plant get detached. So coming back to that internal structure of that sorghum seed is concerned, so this have a different type of endosperm. That also we can visualize by taking that section. So two type of endosperms, florious type. Florious type means that the endosperm is fully loaded with the florious matter, only that carbohydrate matter, totally devoid of any fibers. In those cases, that this area, the endosperm area, appears like white. So like this, so totally white in color. So here the base alone you can see some marking, a brown color marking, something is there, that is at embryo. Whereas some other variety that have a corneous endosperm. Corneous means it appears to be black or brown in color. Black or brown in color. That is loaded with or blended with fibrous matter and florious matter. Both carbohydrate and fibrous matters will be available. It's totally almost corneous. So totally corneous and partly corneous and partly porous, that kind of things also available. So mere by observing that internal structures, we can assess whether these materials are fit for consumption of the consumption of the person having the diabetic problem or not. In the case of a diabetic person, they have to consume some more amount of the fiber containing material. So those persons we have to give that sorghum seed that have more amount of the corneous endosperm. So in that way this will be useful. Similarly, in the case of sorghum maize also, we have different type of corns. So different type of corns are available. In the case of maize, So that corn also categorized based on the biochemical constituents of the endosperm. So the corn like popcorn, plain corn, tent corn, floricorn, like that. If it is a floricorn, actually this is a endosperm area. Actually this alone is a embryo part. So the total endosperm is loaded with the fluoreous endosperm, totally devoid of any fibrous matter. So this kind of corn not at all suitable for consumption of the diabetic person, because this will give only that carbohydrate matter alone. Whereas tent corn, actually this is a embryo. It's a corneous endosperm, it's a fluoreous endosperm. So both the kind of endosperms will be available. Whereas plain corn, the total endosperm is occupied by the corneous type fibrous matter. So it's a very good item for consumption, but very tough to chew the material. Whereas in the case of popcorn, here you can see the fluoreous endosperms are get locked in between the corneous endosperms. So that each and every portion of that dot kind of fluoreous endosperm is well surrounded by the corneous endosperm. So if you go for heating of that kind of material, that immediately after heating, that wherever that fluoreous form of endosperm is there, that will try to expand, just like a balloon that will try to expand. But the corneous endosperm that will exert resistance against their expansion. So there will be a competition. So there will be a pressurized action between that fluoreous endosperm and corneous endosperm, and after a certain level of heating, and that fluoreous endosperms not able to maintain their structures, automatically they will burst open. So because of that only we are getting that popped appearance. So only we can make popcorn in the case of this kind of corn alone. We cannot make use of the remaining plain tent and floricorn for the purpose of that popcorn making purpose. So this is a thing. So as far as that internal structure of that maize is concerned, so this is everything, it's made it visible. So here actually this is a aileron layer that well surround that endosperm. Actually this is a embryo region. So this area is related to that plumule. So this area is related to that radicle. So this is a living part. Aileron layer also living part. So this is a endosperm. I already explained this one. So this is a dicot seed pulses. So here that our two cotyledons. So the primary embryonic axis. So this is a polynuclear region. This is a club shaped one is a radical region. Hilum, microphyll, lens, the outer seed coat. So this is with reference to that dicot seed. So this is with reference to oil seed castor. So castor is having both endosperm and cotyledon. So the castor have that outer structure of that caruncle. Caruncle is available. So this is a caruncle, and then this have a two covering. So the black or brown color outer covering, and that is somewhat shell appearance. So once you remove that, that whatever that entire internal content is there, again the tendrils are well surrounded by one more layer. That layer also we have to remove. Once you remove, you can see that solid white color things. Laterally you have to open. So you have to divide that seed into two half. So on inner side of that two half, you can see a leafy cotyledon. So leaf kind of leaf like structure is available. A thin leaf kind white structure is available. You can separate that one, just like making a dosa. You can separate that both the thing from the solid endosperm part. So this is with reference to that the castor is concerned. So the castor is a very good example for the seed that having a leafy cotyledon. Similarly, that sunflower also. So actually this one is the below one is a sunflower. So like that castor, here also you have to remove that black color layer, on inner side the total thing is well surrounded by the one more white layer. You have to remove that one. After that, this way, in this direction from top to bottom you have to pass that knife. So by that way you can split open this into two half. On inner side like that of the castor, here also that leafy cotyledons will be available. you divide that seed into two half, on inner side you can see that leafy layer. It's a paper in nature. You can separate this one also, like this you can separate. So this is also a very good example for leafy cotyledon. So similar kind of structures also there in almost all the gourds, like bitter gourds, pumpkin, all those things. This is another important thing with reference to that folded cotyledon point of view. So this is cotton seeds. Both the cotton and bendy seeds, the cotyledons are folded. Just like if you take that internal section, internally you can see a solid pointed white color thing. Then again that several cotyledons are folded, just like one umbrella is available inside the seeds. So several things are gathering will be there. So gathering will be there. That and all united at the base. It's a white in nature. So that is at the radical region. So this and all is a cotyledon. So both cotton as well as bendy, it's a very good example for folded cotyledon. So actually it's a structure of that bendy. Here you can see the pointed one, that is a radical region. So here you can see several folding of the cotyledon. So folded cotyledon. Another thing with reference to that curved embryo or curved cotyledon, in the case of tomato, if you take that section of that tomato, on inner side you can see this kind of a white color thing will be there, curved embryo. So the embryo will be available in a white in color, like this, white in color. Actually I have incorporated the diagram in the previous slides. Wait a minute, I can go back to that. Actually I have incorporated that original structure of that one in the seed that have a hairiness. Here you can see actually it's the original structure of that tomato seeds. On inner sides you can see that curved embryo, curved cotyledons. So like that you can see, you can observe in the on inner side of the tomato seeds. That is a special feature as far as that tomato is concerned. So I already told you that cucurbits that have a leafy cotyledon, so leafy cotyledon like that of the castor and sunflower. Beetroot, that perisforms will be available, so powdery masses will be loaded, so perisforms will be available. And in the case of a coriander, actually the dry fruit itself acts as seeds. So actually it's that individual, you can break that one into the individual thing, so individual carpel, so that is a mericarp. So the each and every fragment of that dry fruit able to give rise that seedlings. So that is a thing with reference to that coriander is concerned. And similarly in the case of palmyra and arecanut, that have a stony endosperms. That is a thing with reference to that palmyra seed is concerned. And regarding that coconut seeds, coconut is a very good example for that seed that have a liquid endosperms. So whatever that water is available on the inner side of the coconut, and that is endosperms, liquid endosperms. The fruit is that have a exocarp, and then mesocarps, and endocarp is that your shell. Okay, on inner sides only you are seeing that liquid endosperm. So this is the reference to structure of that coconut seed is concerned. So similarly so many structures are available. So this will be useful for your knowing the various structure, internal organ of the seeds, and some of the competitive examination also, some of the questions are appearing with reference to specialized structures and all they are asking. Thank you very much.